Longo here tonight with your evening news. We begin tonight with Amber Lindbergh and Emily Baker, representatives of the Ocean Cleanup and Doctors Without Borders. They will be discussing their organization's outgoing humanitarian initiatives in southern Somalia to aid those infected by the recent cholera outbreaks. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us on tonight. The situation in Belatwan, Huron Region, Somalia, while under control, has been devastating, especially to the younger and older Somalian population. Doctors Without Borders, volunteers, physicians, and nurses have been working around the clock to deliver paramount medical supplies to the region. The Somalian government believes this outbreak was spread by poor sanitation and inadequate water treatment.
This is why the Ocean Cleanup is working in conjunction with Doctors Without Borders. While our group pioneers technology to address the plastic in the ocean, we believe our technology can serve underdeveloped countries. We want to ensure that Doctors Without Borders never has to treat another patient with cholera.
How are your organizations responding to this health crisis? The viewers will now see images from Somalia.
Our doctors have been in the region since January of this year. Local physicians became concerned for the region when many families came reporting symptoms of nausea, diarrhea, and chronic dehydration. The lack of sanitation regulation for those who dispose of waste in the nearby river has infected 1,613 Somalians. Doctors Without Borders has deployed cholera disease kits and tools to monitor if cholera is present in drinking water. In conjunction with the Somalian government, our engineers will provide blueprints for a future river water treatment plant. We believe waterborne illnesses should be extinct in the 21st century.
Our current focus is cleaning up trash from 5 main gyres spread all over the world. We are paving the road towards a plastic-free ocean by 2050. With that in mind, we are planning to partner with Doctors Without Borders in order to stop water pollution as a whole. We remove pollution from the ocean using natural oceanic currents. The currents of the ocean push the waste into a drift system where the trash is collected and removed. We are hoping to apply the same concept to the rivers in Somalia. All of our cleanup procedures are run by renewable energy, mainly solar power, in order to make our cleanup system even more green. We want to stress to our supporters and viewers tonight the importance of sanitation. Although our region of the world has access to wastewater treatment plants, our trash often finds itself halfway across the world, wreaking havoc on the local populations.
You're absolutely right. As an American, I've never had to worry if my tap water is safe to drink or purchase a water purification tablet. How can concerned viewers help?
That's my favorite question to answer. You can advocate for legislation to further punish companies who illegally dump in the ocean. There are serious consequences to having 5 million pieces of trash aimlessly floating around the ocean. You can also try to avoid using single-use plastics and recycle more. Try switching to a reusable water bottle or straw.
One of the main reasons our two organizations are working together to combat this problem is that environmental issues are not just environmental issues. They encompass various social, financial, and cultural factors. Our two organizations are pooling together our resources in order to stop this epidemic. Each of us are working together to tackle a separate piece of the problem. The Ocean Cleanup focuses on removing trash and waste, and not just sanitizing the water. That is where Doctors Without Borders comes in.
So if this is more than just an environmental issue, how come there's no intervention from a higher power like the government?
That's exactly the problem. The government continues to implement laws against the dumping of waste into our oceans and rivers, but does almost nothing to enforce these rules. In the early 20th century, several laws were introduced to stop the dumping of waste. While the laws were good in concept, by the 1940s, every state in the United States had established its own agency for controlling water pollution. Due to letting the states be individually responsible for water pollution, there are no set of universal rules in place. While the pollution is a transboundary problem, meaning there needs to be universal rules for everyone to follow. This is why NGOs have to step in. NGOs are doing a better job cleaning up the mess that society has created than the government is. I've brought a video today explaining the Ocean Cleanup's technology.
1.8 trillion pieces of plastic float at the surface of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Here, the Ocean Cleanup is deploying the world's first technological solution to this growing problem. The principle behind it is simple. Create a coastline where there are none. Concentrate the plastic and take it out. The system consists of a 600-meter-long floater and a 3-meter deep skirt attached below. The floater provides buoyancy to the system and prevents plastic from flowing over it. while the skirt prevents smaller particles from escaping underneath. As the impenetrable skirt creates a downward flow, marine life can safely pass beneath it. Here is how the system catches plastic. The system takes advantage of three natural oceanic forces: winds, waves, and currents. Both the plastic and system are being carried by the current. However, wind and waves propel the system only, as the floater partly sticks above the surface, while plastic is primarily just beneath it. The system thus moves faster than the plastic, allowing the plastic to be captured. The skirt extends deeper in the middle of the system than on the outer edges. As the current applies pressure on the skirt, the system naturally adopts a U shape, which enables it to concentrate plastic in its center, like a funnel. The drag generated by the skirt also acts as a stabilizing force, allowing the system to reorient itself when the wind changes direction. And because the system, like the plastic, is free-floating, it automatically drifts to the areas with the highest plastic concentration. Fitted with solar-powered lights, anti-collision systems, cameras, sensors, and satellite antennas, the system actively communicates its position at all times and continuously gathers performance data. Periodically, a support vessel comes by to take out the concentrated plastic, like a garbage truck of the ocean. The plastic is then transported to land, recycled, and made into durable products. This is the first of a fleet of 60 systems. Once deployed, the fleet is expected to clean up 50% of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch every 5 years.
That was a very informative video.
Due to the lack of government intervention, our organizations are teaming up to combat these issues. Experts in different fields are needed to design a helpful solution. The Ocean Cleanup team is full of experts at removing trash, while Doctors Without Borders team is full of health and medical specialists. Our work together will eventually help solve the issue that is affecting the livelihoods of so many Somalian people.
If there's one thing you want the viewers at home to know before we leave, what would it be?
Environmental issues are laced with several different factors, and in order to solve them, we need to take a multidimensional approach.
While this is the case, there are simple things we can do in our everyday lives that will change the world. Some ways are trying to reduce the amount of waste you produce, properly dispose of hazards, recycle, and change to reusable plastics, to name a few ideas.
All right, you heard it here first. It's time for a change. I'm Luca Ayalongo, signing off.